January 1st that people flock the gym.
Exactly.
That only takes 7 days. That they actually bring in new gym equipment
Yes.
for January 1st. That it doesn't last more than 10 days. After 10 days, they don't pack their equipment back. Happy New Year! Happy New Year once again, guys. Welcome to another episode of Her Health Podcast. My name is Onyi.
And I'm Victoria. Today we are going to be talking about a topic that is on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
New Year, new me. So let's talk about New Year resolutions and how we can actually actualize them this year.
Because to be honest, like we set New Year resolutions every year, every December 31st. In fact, from beginning of December, everybody's writing my New Year resolution. Next year is my year. Next year I'm going to achieve this. But by February, I saw one, I don't know, news or something or whatever on the news that. January 1st that people flock the gym.
Exactly.
That only takes 7 days. That they actually bring in new gym equipment
yes.
for January 1st. That it doesn't last more than 10 days. After 10 days, they don't pack their equipment back, go keep. So it's actually really common for people to bring up new resolutions that they want to do per year, and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this, to be so enthusiastic and everything, and before February, to be honest, even as of today, people are already giving up on their New Year resolutions.
Exactly.
So we're here to talk about how to stay consistent, make sure that you actualize that goal. And even if you don't actualize it to 100%, you get to a reasonable percentage of the goals that you have planned. So if you are joining us for the first time, please stay tuned. Welcome. Make sure to click the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We promise not to bore you.
Yeah, and if you have been our regular customer, we love you.
We love you so much.
Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for subscribing and for liking and commenting on our channel. We love you so much.
So yeah, why do you think people like making New Year resolutions?
Yeah, I think New Year gives them like a new slate, a clean slate, a fresh start. Like, oh, this is a new time. Let me come and put all my energy.
Even
and
birthdays too.
Yeah, so
birthdays too. Yeah.
So I think that's why people make New Year resolutions.
That's true. But one thing is that sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. We just make so much grand plans and then we now become overwhelmed and we will not be able to achieve those plans that we've made for ourselves. What are some common resolutions that you've made that you keep making every year? So, this kind of resolutions that you make in 2023. I saw one video, they changed the dates. They moved it to 2024, now they moved it again to 2025.
I think one resolution that has been so consistent throughout the years is my fitness goals.
Fitness is hard.
So I've always had get more fit, go to the gym and all, and in all my New Year resolutions, and here I am today. Although I will say that there was a year I actually did it because I'm not as fat as I used to be one time. There was a year I was consistent and did it, but after then I've just went to a wire, right? But now there's a gym in my street that just opened. I must go there. And I think another resolution that I've had every year is reduce social media time.
Oh Jesus Christ, that one is for me.
I always have that resolution. Reduce social media time, but I just don't always seem to get it. How about you?
Social media is actually very addictive. I'll literally say I'm going to go off Instagram right now, and I'll just go away from Instagram and 5 minutes I'll just see myself come back to Instagram. So that one is also one for me. Another thing is reading books. I have books. I actually love to read books, but I read mostly fiction books. So sometimes I'll just make resolutions like, oh, let's read more self-help, motivational books, praying books.
Acquire to Maguire.
Now only I know they even finish them. I was about to say now only one book I go finish, but even that one book I don't go finish them. So I have books that are just piled up that maybe I'll just do 1 or 2 chapters and then I'll just drop it and I'll forget. Maybe by the time that the year is over, I'll open my journal again. I'll be like, oh my god, I said I was going to read more books. Don't worry, next year. So
yeah,
it's one of those one of those things. So you are not alone. It
yeah,
happens to the best of us.
exactly,
It happens to the best of us.
Okay, so let's be practical. How do we move from actually making resolutions to actually like actualizing what we have written, what we have written and spoken about?
For me, I would say the first step is to be specific, right? To know this is the actual goal I want to achieve. For instance, I want to have 1 million naira at the end of 2025. It is a specific amount. It's like, oh, I want to have 1 million naira. I want to weigh 70 kg. It's a specific thing. So you just know that this is the actual goal. Because if you just say I want to lose weight, I want to have money. It's very vague. So have like an actual goal in mind that okay, this is what I want to achieve, because it's going to make it easier to know if you've achieved it or not.
So I think another thing you can do is breaking large like goals into small steps, like actionable steps that you can take. Let's say for example, your money goal this year is to save, let's say 1 million naira. That is like a very big picture of it. So how much will you be saving every month? So you can be able to save 1 million naira at the end of the year, right? So just break down your big goals into smaller steps that you can take.
Then another thing is to make sure that your goals are like realistic, because it's not just to say you want to have 1 million naira at the end of the year. Do you have the resources to be able to even save? Because okay, you have broken it down now to I'm going to save 200k every month. Do you have resources that will enable you to save? Because do you want to go and steal? I'm sure you don't want to. Or is it sugar that I don't know? Just make sure that it's a realistic.
It's not bad.
Just make sure it's something realistic, right? You know that this is something that I can achieve, right? It's not wishful thinking. New Year resolutions, major reason why it feels because we usually like just wishful thinking. It's not a wishful thinking. It's something that is actually achievable. So you make sure that it's a realistic goal. Don't just try to come up with one grand plan. You know, you say you want to go to Italy at the end of this year when your salary is like minimum wage. Miracle no dey tire Jesus, but still. So just make sure that your goals are actually realistic.
And I think another thing you should do is have an accountability partner.
Very true.
Right? So let's say you want to lose weight. You can have someone else that is also going through that, trying to lose weight, that both of you be accountable to each other. Right? Or you can even, maybe when you start the gym, you can, maybe your trainer can be your accountability partner. Let's say you want to start saving. You can have maybe someone, a mentor, a family member, a friend that you see that is already achieving that thing you want to achieve, to be your accountability partner, so that the person can always call you back when you start maybe feeling lazy or feeling put down and all. The person can the person can always ginger you and all. Or even if your goal is also to grow more spiritually, you can have someone that you pray with, a prayer partner. You get, so just get accountability for yourself.
And another thing I would like to add is that you should track your progress. Like right after you've said I want to make so thing in this year, have somewhere you track this thing down. If it's a journal, I don't know, some Notion platforms, just write it down and like make conscious effort to actually remember to keep putting this thing down. Write it down. Okay, this is how much progress I've made in this time, and you can always go back if you didn't make the kind of progress that you wanted. You can find out why did I not make so progress, and then recoup to make sure that you make your progress by the end of the time frame that you've set for yourself. And finally, I think you should pray about your goals, right? Make sure that aligns with the will of God for your life, and then work towards actualizing those goals.
And then I want to say something regarding that tracking your progress. Is something about, like, sometimes we just make goals for a year, right? I think it's very good to like break it down into quarters, or let's say every 3 months, so even if you have monthly, that, even monthly, when you have that grand plan, then you now have like what you're supposed to achieve towards that plan every month or every week.
Quarter.
You get every quarter, so it's going to be better and easier that way to achieve what you want to achieve.
I don't know if you've heard of the whole SMART goals framework. You should make sure it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So just make sure that your goals are actually realistic. It's not something that is just out of the blues, and
so
specific and it's time bound. Have like the time. Oh, this, because if you just leave it, you go still change the date.
No.
You go still change the date 2037. So just make sure that you make smart goals. Don't just write, this year is my year. Nothing happens by wishful thinking. You have to make sure that you are smart.
So Onye, can you share an example of a goal you set and how you achieved it last year?
For me, I'll say fitness, but I already said fitness in the last video, so I'm not going to say fitness again. I would say productivity, right? I know that I'm quite addicted to pressing my phone, so it can be part of my hobbies. So it can actually be time wasting. So I actually set up trackers of things I want to work on, to-do list, activities that I'm currently working on. I'll put them on my to-do list, doing this has been done, this has been. I even had to use the Pomodoro technique. I don't know where you work for 25 minutes at a stretch, and then you take a 5 minutes break to do whatever, and then come back to work. So I tried it out. By the first week, it was quite difficult, but when I did it consistently, it got easier. So you just have times, focus times, where you just do whatever it is that you want to do immediately, and then after that time you go on a break. And it actually helped, right? I had I prioritized my tasks as well. I made sure that every time I had something to do, I would prioritize it, make sure I do everything as at when I was supposed to do, and it really helped with my productivity last year. What about you?
For me, I think it's going to be my prayer life, my spiritual life. So when we went into last year, one of my goals was to grow spiritually. So what I did was I set alarms, right? So I set alarm for 6 o'clock a.m. to wake up and pray. Although it's not every time I wake up by that 6, but every time I wake up, I make sure I pray. Right? So I follow the devotional app. I make sure every morning I must do my devotionals before I go about my day. And then I also set alarm for afternoon to join for afternoon prayers. Right?
Had issues joining the afternoon.
Yes, and then I also set alarm for night to join for evening prayers every day. So these are the systems I set. So even if when I'm not in the mood, once that alarm starts to ring, I know that it is time to pray, right? So this helped me really. I finished with the New Testament because last year it was New Testament we were reading, so I was able to finish reading the most part. But there were some days that I actually skipped. Most part of the New Testament, and I joined in for prayer. So I think that is what a goal I set last year that I actually like.
I also even set a spiritual goal as well, but it wasn't like a New Year resolution thing. And then I now had to join a group of other people where they had a target to finish the New Testament at so time, and then if you don't, you bring a report too. So at the end of each day, you have to bring a report that you have done, that you have finished reading your assigned scripture for the day, and then you share what you learned. And if you don't send your report, they will call you. And you must send that report and you must share what you learned. So by the time they did it 1 week, you'll be like, oh, I want to give up. But it actually really helped in keeping the ginger going. By the end of it, everybody was like, we made it. We made it. So those kind of things are actually ways you can help yourself, because to be honest, it's not easy to stay consistent. Consistency is actually hard. It's very easy to make a plan, it's very easy to set a goal, but consistency is where the real work
I saw something somewhere. They said that it's most times it's about setting systems, right? Putting systems in place, because if you put things in place to check you're able to achieve what you want. Than that in the minute motivation. You
Small
get
burst of
as
energy.
in,
I'll just come
if you are
and
depending on that, you are going to like not do a lot of things.
some people they'll be like, oh, I don't know my calling. I don't know. Sometimes you might never know your calling. You might not really do what you like, but you have to do something, and you have to make sure that you have systems in place, even so that even times when you feel like,
and
when you don't feel like, you know that this thing must be done,
Yes.
and I have to do it because I don't know, my life is dependent on
it.
this thing.
Yeah. So, what is one resolution you have for the year 2025?
For 2025, most of my resolutions are already things that were last year, things that I already started working on last year. So for my fitness, I tend to continue in it, make sure that I work out at least 3 times every week, regardless. When I feel like, even I don't feel like it, I must work out up to 3 times every week for the rest of the year. And maybe as time goes on, I can even increase the number of times that I work out. So that's it. Just to stay consistent in my fitness journey. What about you?
So me, one of my own resolutions for the year is actually also fitness. Throughout last year. Okay, I think I registered for a gym last year, but it was very far and I couldn't be going there. Right. So now that I have a gym very close to me, I am going to start my fitness journey properly this year. I'm going to register for a gym and start working out and eating healthy. And I want to start eating healthy, like all those things they do on Instagram, all those avocado, all those things. I want to start doing.
Oh, that's the hard. That's actually the hardest part of like fitness. Going to the gym is the easy part. That eating right. Oh my goodness.
So I think that's part of my resolution. And then my other resolution, still my spiritual growth. My career growth, right? I'm looking to pivot in my career, so let's fingers crossed.
In all of this, it's just important to know that progress is preferable to perfection, right? You're not going to just magically make it work at once. So just make sure that you're making progress as time goes on. Everything you're doing, you do 1% better every day. Every day you wake up with a goal in mind that I'm trying to make myself better. I'm trying to achieve something today. Don't just wake up and just we don't come, we go again without any plan in mind. Just wake up with a plan in mind. I'm going to do something to make my life better today, and it's going to help.
And also be flexible, right? It's okay if your goal does not go as planned, right? So we should have flexibility. Maybe if you encounter some problems or some challenges on the way,
you can
go back to adjust, go back to the drawing board and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do now, this is what I'm going to do now. So just be flexible.
Next, and also pray because it's actually very difficult. Consistency is really hard. So just pray, ask God for strength to be able to do everything that you plan to do.
Also tell him to align your plans to his will. You might be planning this or have the goals, and what God wants is different. So we should have a time to
sit in heaven.
Exactly. So you should actually bring out time to know what God is telling you to do this year. Actually, so you align your plans to his will.
Very true. So are there any New Year resolutions that you have? Just share a couple of them with us so that we can encourage each other as well. And the drill. Like, comment, share. If you're just joining us for the first time, subscribe. Okay. Thank you for hanging out with us every week. We see your likes. We're almost a month now. We're actually 1 month. It's been 1 month of pushing out videos. I really want to thank you for your support, for how you've stood by us. We see your likes, we see your comments and your shares, and we're really, really grateful.
Thank you so much.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year once again.
And we are wrapping it up.
Thank you.
Bye.
Peace out.